Okay, this is a video for the ZMF 50mm open back Aeolus. I don't know how to pronounce it, so I'll just say the ZMF and then I'll put it in the title, okay? That way we don't make anybody feel uncomfortable. They're absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. They sound great. They're gorgeous. They come with their own nuclear launch code case. Like, turn the dial, flip it up. It comes in this. Japan is like Jurassic Park without dinosaurs. Volcanoes, earthquakes, lots of typhoons. Just need dinosaurs to be Jurassic Park. So the stuff shakes up sometimes. If anything ever went nuts, these would be fine. Definitely. I can't think of anything else that would be as safe as that. That's crazy. And just because I like to beat dead horses, I love animals, but it's just like a metaphor. The U18 came in a little ghetto package that it's been in for like 3 years, and it cost $3,000, and it's not that great. And you get all of this and all of this for half of that price. It's crazy. But we're not here to talk about that, are we? No. We're here to talk about music and headphones. Little Feat, Dixie Chicken, right there. Little Feat, Waiting for Columbus Live. Epic, I wanted to listen to that. Tupac, Point the Finger. Fleetwood Mac, Rhiannon. Blind Faith, Can't Find My Way Home. The Doobie Brothers, Taking It to the Street. Black Sabbath, Sweet Leaf. The Beatles, Dear Prudence. This set is a great set. It's not without its... Everything's got something going on, does it not? What this doesn't have a problem with is sub bass, or bass in general. Considering that the Sundar and the 660S both had difficulty with 33, 39, 43 of... Who would that be? This track right here, Big Boy, Kill Jill. It's got 3 hits. I talked about it in the Sundar and also the 660S video. Both of those were incapable of playing this 39-second. Boom, boom. Like the energy, you could feel it, but you couldn't hear the hit, really. It was just a sensation of the driver getting some kind of input. And then this was okay. On both of those, not really. On this set, we got no problem with the sub bass. So all the way on the far left side, we got no issue. And we got launch codes. It's just so dope. Absolutely awesome. I went through like a mixture of, am I going to, do this? I think this is going to go to my Patreons in April, maybe. I think I'm going to do something like that. Because who would not be stoked to be like, you won this? You know what I mean? So I think I'm going to do something like that. Not because this isn't the level to stay with me. I'm on the hunt to keep looking, and then I'll go back later and get what I discovered, like the Calyx M or the N3As. There's stuff that I've had and then gotten rid of and then thought, I better get that again. So it could come to pass that I'll get these again in the future. I think they're excellent. The cable, I love the ribbon type cable. I love the side-by-side. You can take your twisted and all the bullshit voodoo science that you talk about, the benefits. I ain't buying it. I didn't buy it in car audio. I always use left-right. This is cool. Mini. The craftsmanship on this is it's just dope. I can get why people are, checking their tracking and checking their mail all the time, because if you got this coming in, how good is your life? You know what I mean? God damn. So Little Feat, at the beginning of that is A, B, C, D, F, G, H, I, J, K, L. The beginning of this is piano, guitar. It's a jam. It's a really long jam. It's an excellent jam. It's a jam. I discovered that open back headphones really shine with live stuff, because when you're at a live concert, you're at a you're with everybody else, and there's ambient noise all around you, so your brain is focused on the music, but then there's people talking, and there's stuff going on, and somebody's saying, you want to smoke this joint? There's stuff going on. It's very normal for your brain. So when you isolate everything out and you listen to something live with no... It's kind of, I don't know. It's different. When you listen to a set like this where you're getting some of your own ambient noise from outside, like the computer humming or something, plus that just seems more realistic. It's one of the biggest benefits of open backs that I've run into is some of the live stuff I listen to just sounds... It's like being there. Listening to Little Feat, Dixie Chicken on the ZMF is kind of like being there. It sounds really dope. It's open back, but it's not wide open. It sounds correct. So my first discovery getting back into headphones is that the open backs, for me, one of their main points, besides generally giving a bigger virtual stage, is that on live stuff it seems to really play that back in an overall manner that seems to make the brain feel comfortable. My OCD is totally comfortable with the way that all the Sundara, the 660S, and this play live stuff. And this does really, really well. Probably better than the other three so far. But I think it's in another price level. But it's, considering how it's made, what it's made out of, and how it's delivered to you in, nuclear launch code box, this is just nuts. I wonder if I can work and do a Patreon where you get this, but I keep the case. I don't even know why. I love this. But this stuff plays live, like being there live. It's pretty cool. Tupac Point the Finger. Dun 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 dun. Low, like hip hop bass, like the first one that I showed you with the 3 hits. This really shines on that, and 4-string bass guitar does good. It does better on, I don't know where if there is a small micro hill somewhere. I don't know. It replays, some stuff does bass good. It does bass guitars, it does bass hits. And then this other stuff does one or the other. This, for reasons I don't know, seems to play deck mixed bass hits a little better than it does 4-string bass guitar. I'll kind of explain that. This is just opinion, of course, but I'm using music to explain it. My first offensive thing, would I wreck this set? Look at that case. Look at what you get. The cable, there's the XLR cable plugged in. Yeah, hell yeah, of course I do. Go take a look around of people that got this and what they've listened to and how I think this is really good. I'm coming into this game with an open mind because I don't know. So I don't know what people think about this, really. I think it's very impressive, actually. I think it's the best thing that I have in my collection as far as open backs go. The first issue that I ran into, though, was 2. One was Steve Winwood, and the other was Stevie Nicks. Both vocals, and I'll be exactly specific because that's what OCD does for you. No, you're the man, Eddie. So Rhiannon, I'm not going to sing it, but I'm going to say it because I want you to know exactly where you can listen to your set and hear what I'm talking about. She's like cat in the dark, and then she's the darkness. She rules her life like a fine skylark, and when the sky is starless, all your life you'd never seen a woman taken by the wind. Would you stay if she prompt? Right there. Would you stay if she prompt? There's kind of a grates on me a little bit. Example of rough treble edge. I wrote it down right here. Like something. I don't know. Everything else seemed okay. I noticed that on these are 300 ohm impedance. I had to turn this up a little more than I have recently on other stuff to kind of pull it out of, not a haze, but get the dynamics like going well. Not loud, but I had to turn it up. That's on the amp DAC. This states what its specs are, so. But you do got to put a little more energy into it. But that, would you stay if she prompts, that of Stevie Nicks, that's made me, because I didn't notice that on the Sundara, I didn't notice on the 660, but I was turning it up to pull the whole presentation up a little bit, but in that elevation of the volume, lifting up the whole replay, that kind of stuck out to me enough to write it down. So you can say, oh, this thing plays everything great. Listen to that, and then you can say, well, that's Stevie Nicks, and that's just the recording. And I wouldn't argue with that, because everything else sounds pretty good, except for Blind Faith, Can't Find My Way Home. I'll give you that. So, na. Would you stay if she promised you? Like right there, boom, ouch, kind of whoa. And then here we go, Can't Find My Way Home, Steve Winwood. Come down off your throne and leave your body alone. Somebody must change. You are the reason I've been waiting so long. Somebody holds the key, but I'm near the end. And I like that. Those two harmonic episodes from vocals, one Stevie Nicks and one Steve Winwood, were instantly noticeable. Like if these were IEMs, I would be checking out frequency response charts. But with headphones, I'm kind of new, so I don't want to know. I learned about the Sundara and the 660S right after I posted my video and discovered they both do, in fact, have sub-bass roll-off, if those measurements are correct. I haven't seen a graph for this, but I would say this does not have. In fact, I know it doesn't. It wouldn't be playing back a sub-bass hit around 45 hertz like it's playing if it had rolled sub. It doesn't. I can tell. Music will tell you a lot. So those two vocal episodes are telling me in my brain that somewhere in the treble is not a big elevation. It's not a spiky elevation, but it's I'm picking it up. And it's like a deal breaker, but I don't want to do a video where I say this is great and that's great. There are moments where you think, and I just showed you 2 songs and 2 specific points. And this is where people that don't have OCD are like, okay, I'm fucking out of here. Bye-bye. Doobie Brothers. This is where the bass was a little bit... So, opening bass line, Michael McDonald's vocals were good, but the beginning of that track, dun, 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 wasn't as pronounced as I was expecting it based on the way it had played Tupac. It had played the Kill Bill track, which I didn't write down, but I always check it because open back. Really slammed with that stuff. I played this track too, Loonies, and I also played Bone Crusher. So I'm not writing everything because it's lots of stuff, but this is notable stuff. So I thought that the bass on the Dex mix stuff was very prominent, maybe lower, and the bass guitar, which has got a much bigger range, the upper string goes way out there, a little less so. So bass guitar sounds good. Stuff that's mixed in sounds exceptional. So that some stuff does one, but not the other because of where the hump is, or vice versa. And then this seems to be a set that does bass guitar good, fine for people. It's not a problem. It seemed a little lower in its intensity than I expected on the opening of that, Taken to the Street. But on stuff, like hip hop, it seems to tickle your ears a little bit. And these are like perforated pads. So if these had like not solid, but the like leather pads, you could probably get these to hammer. So Doobie Brothers opening bass line, McDonald's vocals that lay over that sounded good. Black Sabbath was a trip because based on Michael McDonald and Stevie Nicks and the harmonic of it. Now Ozzy Osbourne, he's one of those guys, walks around the stage just screaming. He's not like the guy from Meatloaf, like a trained part-time opera singer. He's Ozzy Osbourne. That's him right there. Black Sabbath, Master Reality, Sweet Leaf. It just kills lots of sets because dynamic drivers seem to sometimes have difficulty with speed, and the distortion that exists on this track is abundant, and it seems to create problems. So when I played this, it was a side thought, like, check it out, with expectations of not having a good replay, which is bad, because I shouldn't expect anything. I should just listen, but I'm not a robot, so I thought, this probably isn't going to be that great. And then I wrote, sounds awesome, what the fuck? Sweet Leaf, shockingly good. This sounded excellent on this set, and I'm confused. It's a dynamic driver. It's open back. the Sundara and the 660S didn't play this. Sundara did pretty good because its speed as a planar, but this would be the best of the three on the hardest to play track that I usually play because it's got so much distortion. If you don't know Black Sabbath, you probably don't know what I'm talking about, but it's a dark, brooding, moody. It's like long before the Nirvana and all that stuff came out where they were like, you know, fuck society, man. Don't tell me what to do. These guys were doing that kind of vibe long, that when their daddies, before they were a seed in their daddy, Black Sabbath was doing that stuff, like counterculture, fuck you, you know, stuff that people were talking about how these people worship the devil and they didn't, and Tony Iommi and Geezer and all of them were like, nah, we weren't in that, but they like to play with it, with their titles and with their album covers and make the mothers feel uncomfortable. So I listened to this and I thought, holy shit, that sounds really, really good. I mean, the whole thing. Ozzy sounded fine. There was no odd harmonics. The guitar, the solo, and the drum, he's going across the kit several times. It sounded great. One of the better over-ear playbacks of Sweet Leaf that I've heard. I don't know why. So that was great. And then the final track that I really focused on was the Beatles' Dear Prudence, because of the intro bass line. And John Lennon's got one of those voices that can sometimes be a little, not quite like Ozzy, but kind of honky. You know what I mean? Like a Neil Young, Bob Dylan. I put Ozzy in those, like, could make you feel slightly uncomfortable with his harmonic bloom. One thing I noticed on this set that I never really focused on, and I have OCD, so I focus on some things and then other things pass me by because that's what OCD is. I realized today, for maybe the first time consciously and outwardly and to myself, that the opening bass line on Dear Prudence is really left side only. And I didn't even really notice it. I do IEMs where everything's blocked out and I'm focusing on the quality of that string pull. And I guess I always heard it on the left. I just never really thought about it. And then today I was like, that's on the left side. The intro bass line of Dear Prudence before John Lennon comes in is left side. Almost all left side. Teeny bit on the right side. If anything, it's left side focus. And it sounded great. So we had two moments of oddity, which were both vocal related, and it was Stevie Nicks singing that particular line. Would you stay if she promised? Like right there. That could be chalked up to that I had to turn the volume up because I felt like the whole presentation was a little not veiled, but like needed more power. More power. So I put in turn it up, and then everything sounded better, and then when her vocal moment came, it maybe was magnified. That's totally possible. But I write what I write, and then I read it back to you guys later. So it could be that, but relative, everything else sounded good. That moment of hers, not so much. And then Steve Winwood, to think about it, maybe this happens more often than I realize, but I'm near the end, like that burn, that they both were instantly like, grab the pencil. You know, when Steve Winwood came, I wrote a little, drew a pencil down to here, because this box that says example of rough treble edge, like a roughness that's not there all the time, but comes out at you because it's presented in a special moment sonically that otherwise you might completely miss. I got it twice. If that's the only thing that I can come up with is two lines and two songs that with the volume turned up might be slightly non-ideal, considering what I've reviewed so far as headphones, which are pretty good, but they're not as good as this. And the only thing I can find with it is those two things. And Black Sabbath was just fucking dope. Black Sabbath Sweet Leaf sounded fantastic on dynamic drivers. Welcome to the real headphone world, I guess, for me. Like, this is popping my cherry, I guess. No other real notes. So bass is good. Mids seem fine. Seems like 300 ohm impedance. You need power. This is not something you would run off of a smartphone or I should run it off a DAP. I got to start doing that by habit because I'm using the ADI all the time now. This 300 ohms, man, I don't think you're going to get the best. You really need a potent DAP to be listening to these. FiO M15 I tried. That's an unusually powerful, and it's got a headphone setting and everything, so I did that briefly and I thought that was fine, but I'm not feeling that DAP. I don't like it. And then once I set my mind to that, then that's the way it is. So, but I tested that out, but then after I did, I thought this is like one of the more potent DAPs. So what does that tell me? This is probably something that would be best. It looks like it's something for the home. No, it does to me. Looks like something would be on your desk. No, looks like that to me. Nuclear launch codes. And in this environment works great. This would not be on the go because you wouldn't want to scratch, ding, or anything with this. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's like artwork. And this cable is obviously for, it's kind of long. It's for home use. So this is really a home set. If you're like, those look cool, I'd like to take them out. I don't think so. Some people laugh and like, that's a joke, right? No, some people, are not, they don't know headphones and they're like, those are dope. I wear brown shirts. You know what I mean? That would be cool. People, look at Beats. They're wearing red and yellow shit, and AKG released stuff that was colorful. And you look at things and you think, who would wear that? Somebody would. So if someone's thinking, I'd like to take that on the train trip with me, you better have a really potent DAP, and I wouldn't recommend doing that. So I'm stating the obvious to most of the viewers, but hey, we all started at some point, didn't we? So I don't want to make assumptions about what people think. This is not for the train. Okay? And let's go over this one more time. Little Feat, Dixie Chicken, live, sounded really good. Everything that's live sounds really good on good open backs because it's mimicking the memory of that experience of hearing live. It's fucking live in a similar thing. Closed over your ear listening to a live is limited because it's hard to explain. It's like why the Sennheiser HD800s make everything sound huge because of the cavernous cup interior and the way that it's reflecting off the inside metal and open backs, dynamic driver, live music. It looks like a great combo. I'm Captain Obvious to a bunch of people. I didn't know until I'm confirming it right now. Fleetwood Mac sounded good. I listened to other tracks, but that Rhiannon moment stood out to me. Volume related. Blind Fate sounded great, except for that. But that could be happening more often than I'm really thinking about. Doobie Brothers, the bass line sounded good. Not as powerful as I expected it to be, because of what it did when it gets the input of a big bass hit from something like Kill Jill, it plays the big bass hit. The bass line from Take It to the Street, the Doobie Brothers, was good. It wasn't as powerful as I thought. Black Sabbath I thought was going to be decent at best. Meh. It turned out to be shockingly good. I wrote it down. What the fuck? It doesn't make any sense. I'm not insulting the company, like these are famous and the people that make them are great and they're really talented, but Black Sabbath is not something that I'm imagining dynamic drivers do well. And for some weird reason, I'm thinking open backs might have more of a hard time because the outside, I'm just playing with what's already not the ideal because it's recorded outside instead of a controlled studio environment. So my brain said, that wouldn't be no, actually open backs with live is really good. I know that now for sure. And John Lennon was not giving me any harmonic problems. And the bass line at the beginning of Dear Prudence is on the left side. I've always known that. It's like looking up at the ceiling and saying, I have open beam ceilings. And you live in the house for 13 years. You never really looked up. You know what I mean? No? Okay, never mind. These are very nice. They play back my library very good. So might as well show that instead of keep sitting on this fucking page. There we go. Why don't you get off of that? No, I'm going to leave it right there. That group was named because of that image. That image was called Blind Fate. There's something going on there with the pureness of a girl and modern tech. Forgive that plain for 19 whatever 69 or whatever, whenever this was, that was like it was symbolic. Also, it's kind of phallic, so it is like offensive. But that people keep complaining about this to me and say, "Lisa, your art okay?" It's art. And go check YouTube for Blind Faith Can't Find My Way Home. There's lots of, they got thumbnails with this chick in it. Come on, this is art. There's more offensive stuff out there, isn't there? Aren't there people that put crucifixes in urine and call it art? I'm not religious really, and I don't care about that stuff. But let's fucking grow up. This is bigger than you and me. This was a super group. This was Rick Gretsch. Am I right, people? Rick Gretsch, Eric Clapton, Ginger Baker, and Steve Winwood, super group. One album done. Don't know the story behind that, but that would have been a good knowledge bomb. So I'm out. I just added 10 minutes to what should be a 5-minute video. I'm sorry. No, I'm not. No, Eddie, you're the man. And I'm out.